Hi, I'm Pamela Poole, and I live an amazing life as an artist and an author. I'm in my studio again today, and it has been a while since I've been able to get back to the painting that we stopped on last time, Southport Sales. I have done a few things in the studio since then, but there's a lot of craziness going on right now with everyone having to do the social distancing and all of that, and things have just been a little disruptive in my life. I haven't been able to get back to this, but I am excited about it, and I wanted to show you today the next step. I had hoped to be painting, but as I was drawing out this composition, I decided there was too much there for you to miss. If I started painting, that would get glossed over, and maybe you would think that it wasn't as important. Actually, if this is wrong, my painting will fail. That is just the blunt part of it. Nothing magic is going to happen if I don't get this right. And so I want to show you what I did, okay? And I'll try to keep it brief so that since I'm not painting, maybe that's the part you really wanted to get to. I want to show you some other things first, okay? Before you pick up your paintbrush, make sure you understand this. We talked about dividing the canvas into threes, that made a golden mean, something we call a golden mean. I talked about how the sweet spots for your 5-star focal points were going to be 4 places where those dividing lines for those 3 sections were going to meet. And I also told you that in this particular painting, my focal point would follow those guidelines. We talked about using rulers to make sure you get things right. And I told you that it was good to keep a horizon line in that bottom third, or if it's the thing, put it near your top third, but don't cut through the middle of your painting. And so that's what I have done. I told you that in this painting, I wanted the sky to meet the earth on the horizon line, not the water. And so we're going to have some things going on in the background there. It's going to be a little bit broken up. Maybe you can see some of my white chalk lines on there. I hope you can, because we're getting ready to talk about them. Also, in the past videos, I explained to you that while many people use a color chart, a color wheel to come up with the colors they're going to use in a painting, I skipped that part this time. I wanted to keep this very approachable for people who don't paint a lot. This is not a video for people who know all the art terms, and maybe they teach art and they don't need some of these basics. This is for just the average person who wants to just paint to relax. They aren't interested in being a famous artist or any of that. I told you that instead of that watercolor chart that I just showed you, I picked a color that I mixed myself that would be close to this, and this is close to this. So you can see there's a really good harmony, I think, that I achieved with these colors. But I found a color chart that already had colors that would go with this particular color. And you can see it right there on that bottom line. As long as I stick with this, limit my colors to this, I should be good. I will probably use judiciously the lights and this dark color to pop out my focal point. And so that's something we'll get to when I start painting, if you stick with me that long. And so let's get back to some basics here. Normally, as an artist, I do something called a value study. What that means is I take the picture or my reference photos I either invent in my mind or I come up with from the reference photos something called a value study. And that is, I do a sketch and it has the lights and darks in place. This is one from a painting I did about 9 years ago, 2011. It should be on my website if you're interested, called Beach Duel or something like that. Seaside Duel, I think it is. Anyway, the painting itself is long, so it's a lot longer than this one section, but I wanted to be sure I got this right. This is my husband and my son fencing on Myrtle Beach in the sand, and I needed to be sure that my lightest light was my sky, my medium tone is the background, their whites, that's what you call the fencing uniform, were lights that came in, and I needed to know where the dark places were, because I'm trying to create a rhythm and a unity, and we're getting ready to talk about that with this painting. So I also told you last time I did not do a value study. The reason is because mostly what I want is already done in this photo. There's no reason for me to rehash that. And so I want to show you what I did cut out of this photo and how I made decisions about my lights and darks. Remember, every space that I imagined cut through in thirds needs to be interesting to the viewer. Almost as if I cropped out maybe this section here, someone would have a painting of a lighthouse, a larger boat, and two smaller boats. That would be a painting in and of itself. You could crop out this section where I have 3 boats, and I love to do things in threes. I think I told you that, the golden mean to flocking things in threes. It just goes together. It just feels right to me. Some people say it has to do with the Trinity. For Christians, you'll know what I'm talking about with that. It's just something that is grounding and unifying and makes everything complete for us. But this section up here, you may be thinking, well, how is that interesting? Well, we also need still space. But if you also look closely, this area of the sky has more going on than the other places that are behind the sailboats. That's because I want the sailboat to be the thing and not the sky. The sky is a stage, just like the water is a stage. I don't want to draw too much attention to those elements. And so this section is blank, but I think you'll find when this painting is done that I needed that blank space. We call it still space. Some artists call it white space, but it's a place to rest. Rest your eyes when you're looking something over. Everything can't compete for your attention at one time. That wouldn't be a good idea in a composition for a painting. Also, I want you to see that I varied the sizes and the placement of the boats in this photo. If you look at this photo, you will see that on the horizon line, all 3 of these front boats, and a couple of these, their sails match the horizon line. That may actually be a real thing. If you're a sailor, you may think, well, yeah, that's a thing. I don't want it to be a thing in this painting. And the reason is because I would keep everyone's eye on the horizon line. This painting is not about the horizon line. The horizon line is there to help you relax and to give a grounding to the painting. So I varied where my sails were going to end or start, whichever way you want to look at it, in this painting, so that they wouldn't be on the line for the island itself. I also varied the sizes of these. I made one sail ends here, one is here, one is here. I hope you can see these white lines that I have coming down to these sketched out sailboats. This sail is here, this one is here, this one is here, and the lighthouse is here. So everything has a different height in the background. It's like a dance. So dancing isn't as much a thing these days as it used to be, but especially back in the early part of the 1900s and towards the middle 1950s, dancing was a big social thing. Now it's not quite so much of a big deal, but it's still a lovely thing to watch. And if you watch it, you know, or if you participate, you know that there are basic steps that, you know, just move you along, but then there's the dip or some other movement, the turn that draws everyone's attention, and they turn around and look because it's such a lovely thing to see. And it takes some skill and accomplishment, yes, if you're a dancer, but that is what my focal point is going to be in this painting. So think of this, the placement that I have done, I am thinking in terms of a dance. I'm giving you rhythm to look for in the painting, and so I'm hoping that this will help you feel like you are either rocking on the waves if you're not into dancing, or if you dance, that you will like following along and going with that dip that we're going to take. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, try to keep it short right now. And I will be trying to get back to this painting because I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about the things that I'm thinking through and having to verbalize them and explain them to you so that you can understand that an artist doesn't just start painting typically. I have done some pour painting in the past couple of weeks, and yeah, you kind of just pour that paint on. But mostly, if you're going to accomplish a painting that is well thought out, something you would put in a show, you're going to be thinking it through. And these are the things that now you know what's happening in the mind of those crazy artists whenever they're working in their studio. I hope you have a wonderful creative day, that you go do something that you love to do, that you're very good at, that you've been given the gift of talent or skill in that particular thing. And I hope that you have a wonderful creative life and that you'll remember to go be salt and light and spread sunshine wherever you go. Have a great day. See you next time.